have taken over this channel, and we can show you one man who discovers that the waking nightmare of his world is far worse than any he could have dreamed.
The Colony by StoryMan-Jack. Sean woke, much the same as he had the last 20 years, to the sound of a buzzer going off in his cell. He rolled out of his bunk, little more than a foam pad on a concrete slab, and left it rumpled and messy.
Fuck 'em,
he thought, much the same as he did every morning. And though he'd get a demerit for leaving his bunk unmade, he really didn't give a shit anymore. It was a little win, but a win nonetheless.
Texas inmate 4116369 report to gate 4.
Sean sighed.
Haircut time, I guess.
And made his way through the open cell door, down the hallway to the corridor that led to the gates. Gate 4 was the medical wing, really the experimental wing, where they tested new drugs, antivirals, you name it. It was also the wing where Sean got his head shaved every 6 months, his curls going to some elite woman, probably one of the party leaders. He'd been one of them once, a long time ago. He had marched, he had knocked on doors, he'd been brainwashed just like the rest.
For the workers, for the environment,
they screamed, but it was a lie, a way of getting power they would never let go of. Sean thought he would be the one giving out the food and housing to the masses who needed it. But instead he found himself in a camp, transferred to another camp, and then another. The dissidents, the workers, the people the party was for. Yeah, they were the first ones thrown in the camps. He approached the gate and waited for it to scan the chip they'd injected behind his ear. Inmate 4116369, your social credit score remains below acceptable levels. You will earn 3 points if you will donate your hair. Do you agree to this? It will raise your current score from negative 662 to negative 659.
Yeah, whatever,
Sean muttered to the computer. Not that the points would matter. They'd imprison him when his score fell below 50. And all that food, room, and lodging, that cost more points. Points he didn't have and never would. So as the old gangsters would say, the juice was a-running. And he was in for a long haul. Just this was his life.
Forever fucking more,
he growled. The lighted hallway led him to an empty room of white stone with a chair and machine attached. Everything was automated. There were no guards, no corruption, and the ACP owned the prison corporations and could save all the money on the labor costs they wanted. Sean spit out of pure disgust. Inmate 41163. That will be 4 demerits. Your total social score is now negative 666, making you ineligible for your first meal of the day. Sean sighed as he got into the chair and let the machine go to work, shaving his head smooth while collecting the hair to be sold for or gifted to an elite in the party. Hurt. The machine pulled and stretched his hair until he thought the damn thing would pull it right out of his scalp, and then the laser burned his head as it cut away the follicles. The pain could be endured, however. The flat vid screen with the propaganda could not. Images of suffering and plague, of the destitute, of the repeating words. This is because of your debt to the people, to the party, to the chairwoman. May she bless us all, over and over. And then people chanting, AOC, ACP, AOC, ACP. He had had enough, and he wished he could just put a bullet in his own brain. Once done, he was required to sit in his daily medical exam, lying strapped to a table while the computer scanned his nude body. Inmate 41163, report to exam room 13 for further evaluation, the computer said once the scan was complete. Sean eyed the machine for a moment, sitting on the edge of the table after the straps had retracted.
This is new,
he said to the empty room. Inmate 41163, report to exam room 13 for further evaluation, it stated again. Why? Sean asked, his anger rising. Just tell me that. For the love of God, just tell me why. Pain. Pain like unto the fires of hell shot through his entire body all at once, and Sean found himself in a cold stone floor shaking. The chip. They'd shocked him through the chip. He had lost control of his bodily function and urinated all over himself on the floor. Inmate 41163, you are in violation and are fined 6 demerits for lack of hygiene. This decreases your social credit score to negative 669. Your outdoor privileges have been canceled for the day. Fuck! He grunted, drool and spit coming with the word as he lifted himself to his knees. Inmate 41163, report to exam room 13 for further evaluation. The computer repeated, further disciplinary action will occur in 3, 2... Okay, all right, Sean said, getting up. I'm going. He left the room and followed the glowing lights up a different corridor, and he found another empty room, but just an exam table, no machines. Please lay on the table, a voice said, and not a computer one. Try to make yourselves comfortable. The voice was female. Hey, who's there? He asked, the darkness beyond the lone lamp above the table. Mr. Abraham, the voice said, we need you to answer a few medical questions before we proceed. Would that be all right? Why are you asking? The man asked. Is this a joke? Mr. Abraham, have you ever had the following: measles, mumps, hepatitis in any form, yellow fever, or any other contagious disease? Why? He asked again. Mr. Abraham, the voice scolded, I would not speak unless it is to answer our questions, or your payment for such will be met accordingly. This is your one and only warning. The voice paused. Now, answer the question. Have you ever been infected with a contagion? You should know, but no, not that I know of. He looked around the familiar metallic automated straps going around his body. He was used to it, and he just let it bind him. I mean, you scan me every effing day. Mr. Abraham, have you ever done drugs of any kind? The one asked. No, nothing stronger than beer or marijuana. Why? Well, it looks like you are the perfect candidate, the voice said. Congratulations. Congratulations for what? He asked. It looks like you are finally going to get released, the voice told him. Men came into the room rolling a surgical tray. Really? Sean asked. What? How? It seems that a party member, a particularly high up, perhaps even our next great leader, needs a kidney, and you are going to get it, the woman's voice explained. And that wipes out all my debt? Sean asked, excited. Well, yes and no, the woman said, a smile in her voice. We're going to take a kidney and have it flown to D.C., where the great party leaders are currently holding parliament. The other will be put on ice, just in case she needs another. But, Sean asked, confused, don't I need at least one? Oh, you won't need one. You will be deceased, the voice said. Sean felt his blood boil, but he smiled as he thought about it. It would mean release. It would mean his living nightmare would come to an end. Of course, the voice paused. Yes, here it is. Your negative 669 points will go to your daughter, a one Mercy Abraham. What? He demanded, struggling against his bonds. You can't do that. She's just a kid. Hardly a child, inmate. She is 27 after all, and with that score added to her paltry 200, why, that means she will end up right here like her father. You know, like father, like daughter, eh? The voice told him. The last thing Sean saw before the gas mask was placed over his head was the logo of the prison surgeon's coat. It was a black goose with a red neck stripe silhouette over a pentagram, the lettering reading, Black Goose Prison Systems. Sean shook his head. No, you can't do this. She's done nothing. Oh, everybody's done something, Mr. Abraham. Good night. And so we see that life is like under the rule of an iron fist, in the name of community, in the dark, in the night, until we meet again. Nox Fini, fear the night.